Hello and welcome back to John Wesley's house and our tour of Wesley's furniture. Today we're looking at a highboy next to me, which would have served Wesley as his wardrobe. Wardrobes in the 18th century were almost unheard of and were only introduced around 1780, 1790. So instead of your wardrobe, you kept your clothes in a highboy or in a linen press. A highboy, like this one, is basically a chest of drawers on a chest of drawers. And in this case, we've got 9 drawers in total. They separate, so they're basically 2 pieces of furniture used as one. Interestingly, a lot of highboys have a cloth slide that pulls out, like this one. And you probably would have pulled it out slightly further, which is where you would have brushed down your clothes before wearing them, hence the term brushing slide. In the 18th century, of course, you couldn't iron your clothes every day. You certainly had no electricity, and it was very hazardous putting your iron on the fire, making it hot, and then always being in danger of burning your clothes as well as your furniture. So brushing down was usually the thing. You find sometimes these are baize lined, but this one is just wood. Now, the highboy is made from oak. The carcase is made from oak, and you can see this here. And the front, or the veneers, are made from mahogany, which is very much typical of the 1770s, 1780s. You've got very nice handles and metalwork there, but they are not original to the piece. They are very much of the period, but they were probably put on in the early 1900s. When one looks closely, one can actually see little cutouts around the handles, which indicate that at some stage in its life it would have had knobs, probably wooden knobs. And I would imagine, these are the cutouts, and I would imagine that these wooden knobs here are indicative of the type of wooden knobs that would have been everywhere, slightly bigger. And then they were taken off again. Very much a fashion of the Victorian period of the 1850s and 60s, and quite common on most drawer furniture. So this is our tall boy, nice quality altogether. Canted, fluted corners as well, which is a really nice little detail. On the bracket feet at the bottom, nicely shaped. And apart from the handles, it's all original. So this would have functioned as Wesley's wardrobe. And if we have a look over here, we can see a single chest of drawers, or just an ordinary, normal chest of drawers of the period. Slightly earlier, we're probably looking at something of about 1760 to 1770, with very nicely OG-shaped bracket feet, which are nicely curved. That's very much a period feature of the sort of 1760s thereabouts. And with lovely brass handles. These, I think, are still the original handles. Let's have a look. Yes, they are the original handles. There's no indications that they have been replaced. You can see how nicely they fit in here at the back. All the nuts and bolts. There is certainly no indication of any knobs. So these are the original handles, very nice one-neck type handles of that period. Similar to the highboy, we've got a brushing slide here. Incidentally, this is a very interesting division, which would indicate that this piece of furniture was probably used as a dressing table, possibly a gentleman's dressing table, rather than just a chest of drawers. Because you could have kept, for instance, your shaving materials and other things in these compartments. Especially then, if you slip out the top part here, another brushing slide, and in this part possibly more as a kind of like a table to rest on and to use during shaving. So yes, it has a brushing slide. This one has a nice base cover on, although this may be a later replacement. And has also got the original handles here, those little brass knobs. Altogether, it's quite a simple piece of furniture, again in oak and then mahogany veneered, on the outside. The oak's very nicely visible here. A lesser wood than mahogany. But altogether a really nice piece of furniture, of good quality but not elaborate, very much like most of the furniture in Wesley's house.